Did you know that after more than 4 decades in orthopedic surgery and rehabilitation, I, Dr. Thomas, have seen a pattern so clear and so urgent that it changes the way we think about aging entirely? My colleagues and I, surgeons from the US, Canada, Japan, and Germany, have watched thousands of bodies age, some remaining strong and steady well into their 80s, others losing balance, say strength and independence far sooner than expected. And despite what many health apps, fitness influencers, and wellness trends keep repeating, just walk more. The science, the clinical outcomes, and the lived experience of real patients tell a different story. Walking is good for your heart and your mood, yes, but it does not rebuild lost muscle. It does not restore reaction speed, and it does not retrain the balance systems that deteriorate silently after 65. That's why, after studying hundreds of research papers and testing dozens of movement protocols on real seniors, we identified 7 exercises that consistently protect strength, stability, and independence in later life. What these 7 movements do for older adults may surprise you, and one of them, especially, is something most people have never even heard about. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Heel to toe walk, awakening the body's lost sense of position. After more than 40 years caring for older adults in operating rooms, rehabilitation centers, and long-term care units across the United States, I can tell you with certainty. One of the earliest changes we see after age 65 is not in the muscles you can feel or the joints you can see on an X-ray. It is in something quieter, more subtle, yet profoundly important: your body's internal navigation system, known medically as proprioception. Proprioception is your built-in GPS. It tells your brain where your feet are without looking. It lets you walk across your living room in dim light. It helps you step off a curb, reach for a shopping cart, or turn to greet a friend without losing your balance. And here's the truth many people never hear: this system begins to weaken long before your legs feel weak. Beginning around age 65, the sensory receptors in your feet, ankles, and legs, tiny nerve endings that constantly report information to your brain, start to send slower, fuzzier signals. Studies show that this decline can reach 20 to 25% by the late 70s, even in adults who walk daily. That slowdown means your brain has less reliable information about the ground beneath you. The world becomes just slightly less predictable. You may notice it in small ways: feeling unsteady on grass, hesitating on uneven sidewalks, or holding the railing more often when climbing stairs. And for many, this change is misinterpreted as old age stiffness or just a little wobble. But as a surgeon who has treated countless fall-related fractures, I can tell you, these early signs matter. The heel-to-toe walk is one of the most powerful ways to restore this fading sense. It looks simple, almost too simple, but clinically, it does what ordinary walking cannot. It forces your brain and body to recalibrate in real time, sharpening the communication between your feet and your central nervous system. Here is why it works so well. When you place the heel of one foot directly against the toes of the other, you narrow your base of support to almost a straight line. This puts gentle, controlled stress on the balance system. Your ankle stabilizers activate, your hip muscles tighten just enough to guide the movement, and your brain must focus intensely on each step. It is the neurological equivalent of tuning your radio from static to clarity. Over several weeks, research shows that older adults who practice heel to toe walking improve their dynamic balance, the kind you use while moving, by nearly 20%. But beyond numbers, patients report something more personal and meaningful: renewed confidence. Confidence stepping off curbs, confidence walking into church, onto the deck behind the house, or down the aisle at the grocery store. Confidence that their body still listens when they ask it to move. Here's how to do it safely. Stand near a counter or sturdy wall for support. Fix your gaze on a point ahead of you, not at your feet. Step forward so your heel touches your opposite toes. Move slowly, deliberately. Aim for 15 to 20 steps, once or twice a day. Even if you wobble, especially if you wobble, the exercise is working. That wobble is your nervous system relearning how to stabilize you, the very skill that can prevent a devastating fall. And here is something I tell every patient over 65. You cannot protect what you cannot sense. Reawakening proprioception is the first step to protecting your independence. But strength is the second. And without it, even excellent balance cannot keep you steady. That brings us to the next essential exercise, one that determines how long you will stay independent in your daily life. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Chair stand, the movement that predicts independence. When I speak with patients in their late 60s or 70s, one of the questions I ask surprises them with its simplicity. Can you stand up from a chair without using your hands? Many smile, attempt it, and then realize just how revealing this little test truly is. What they don't know is that this single movement, the humble chair stand, may tell me more about their long-term independence than almost any scan, lab test, or fitness tracker. Let me explain why. After age 65, the body goes through a transformation that most people underestimate. The muscles responsible for lifting us out of a chair, the quadriceps, gluteal muscles, and core stabilizers, begin losing strength at a faster rate than almost any other muscle group. This decline is known as sarcopenia, and by the late 60s, it can quietly reduce strength by 1.5% to nearly 3% each year, accelerating into the 70s and 80s. You may notice the signs: needing to push off the armrests, taking a moment before rising, or feeling a slight strain when getting up from the sofa or car seat. Most older adults tell themselves it's just stiffness, but clinically, it is often the earliest indicator that their functional strength is slipping. And here in the United States, where independence is deeply woven into our identity, driving ourselves, cooking our own meals, walking into church or the local grocery store, losing this strength does more than limit mobility. It chips away at a person's confidence, freedom, and dignity. That is exactly why the chair stand matters so much. This simple exercise mirrors dozens of movements you perform daily: standing up from the dining table, getting out of bed, stepping off the toilet, rising from a pew on Sunday morning, or climbing out of the car at your granddaughter's soccer game. If these muscles weaken, everything becomes more effortful. And more importantly, your risk of falling rises sharply because your body cannot respond quickly when shifting from sitting to standing. Here's the truth from years of medical research. Adults who can perform repeated chair stands without assistance have significantly higher survival rates, lower fall rates, and greater long-term independence. One study even suggests that difficulty rising from the floor or chair correlates with a higher risk of hospitalization within the next 5 years. The good news is that this decline can be reversed, you know, often dramatically, with consistent practice. Here's how to perform the chair stand correctly and safely. 1. Choose a sturdy chair, one that doesn't roll or slide, ideally at knee height. 2. Sit tall, feet flat, toes pointing forward, legs hip width apart. 3. Cross your arms over your chest or extend them forward if needed at first. 4. Lean forward slightly at the hips. This shifts your weight over your feet. 5. Push through your heels and rise to a full standing position. 6. Pause briefly, then lower yourself slowly, controlling the descent. Slowness is key. Much of the muscle rebuilding occurs during the controlled lowering phase. Aim for 10 to 12 repetitions, resting as needed, and gradually work up to 2 to 3 sets per day. After a few weeks, many of my patients report something remarkable. They feel lighter, steadier, and more capable in their daily movements. Suddenly, standing up isn't a strain. Stairs feel more manageable. Activities that once left them winded now feel within reach again. And perhaps most importantly, they feel their independence returning, not just physically, but emotionally. Strength, after all, is not only a physical capacity, it is a source of confidence, a promise to yourself that your body can still carry you through the moments that matter. But strength alone isn't enough. To stay truly steady on your feet, your hips must move freely and respond quickly, a challenge most people don't realize they're losing until it's almost gone. And that brings us to the third essential exercise. 3. Standing hip circles, restoring the mobility that protects you from life's smallest surprises. In my decades caring for older adults, I've learned that the hips often tell the story of how well a person will move through their later years. Long before someone develops severe arthritis or needs a cane, their hips begin to lose something far more subtle: the ability to rotate, stabilize, and react quickly when life throws a small, unexpected movement their way. Most people don't realize this change is happening. It begins quietly in the mid 60s. A little stiffness when stepping sideways, a slight hesitation when turning to look behind you, a feeling of being off balance when walking on grass or uneven pavement. These symptoms seem harmless, but medically they are powerful indicators that the stabilizing muscles surrounding your hips, the abductors, rotators, and deep gluteal muscles, are weakening. These muscles act like the hinges of a door. When they tighten or weaken, your entire movement pattern becomes restricted. And when restricted movement meets an unpredictable environment, a rug that shifts, a curb that is slightly higher than expected, a grandchild running towards you, that's when falls often happen. One thing I wish every older adult in America understood is this: falls rarely happen straight forward. Most happen sideways or during a twist. And this is precisely where hip mobility becomes the difference between catching yourself or hitting the ground. The standing hip circle exercise is one of the most effective tools we have for retraining this part of the body. It blends strength, balance, and flexibility into a single controlled movement. The goal isn't to build large muscles, it's to awaken the small, stabilizing muscles that keep you upright during real life situations. When you lift your knee and slowly draw a circle through the air, your hip joint travels through a range of motion it rarely uses during normal walking. At the same time, the muscles in your standing leg fire continuously to keep you balanced. This dual action is incredibly powerful. It teaches your hips to move more freely while strengthening the very muscles that prevent sideways falls. Over time, this exercise can dramatically improve what physicians call lateral stability. your ability to remain steady when pushed or pulled from the side. Studies show that older adults who train hip mobility for even 10 minutes a day experience significant improvement in their ability to recover from a stumble. More importantly, they regain a sense of trust in their movements. They stop fearing sidewalks, parking lots, or busy grocery store aisles. Performing the movement correctly is simple but requires attention. Start by holding the back of a sturdy chair or resting your fingertips on the kitchen counter. Lift one knee to a comfortable height, then gently guide it outward, backward, and forward in. One slow, deliberate circle. Imagine oiling a stiff hinge. Each repetition loosens the joint and strengthens the muscle stabilizing it. Reverse the direction, then switch to the other leg. What I love most about this exercise is that it reminds people that mobility isn't about being young. It's about staying prepared, prepared to step aside gracefully, prepared to catch yourself when you slip on a wet spot near the sink, prepared to turn quickly when someone calls your name, prepared to stay independent. And independence is the heart of why we do these movements. Your hips, strong and mobile, are what allow you to move confidently through a world that will not stop shifting beneath your feet. But mobility alone isn't enough. To truly protect yourself from unexpected loss of balance, you need a surprising type of strength, one that doesn't come from lifting weights or moving at all. That brings us to the fourth exercise, a technique older adults often overlook. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Isometric wall press. Building the fast-acting strength that protects you when it matters most. Throughout my career as an orthopedic surgeon, I have treated hundreds of fractures caused by falls, wrists shattered while trying to catch a stumble, hips broken from a sideways slip, shoulders dislocated after losing balance on a smooth kitchen floor. And while each injury tells its own story, there is one truth that emerges again and again. Falls happen in an instant. An instant too quick for slow, deliberate muscle strength to help you. An instant where your body must generate force immediately, not after warming up, not after thinking, but right away. This ability, known medically as rate of force development, is the single most overlooked element of fall prevention in older adults. Many people in their late 60s and 70s can walk comfortably, lift light weights, or perform gentle exercises, yet still lack the rapid reactive strength needed to brace themselves when a misstep occurs. Ordinary walking simply does not train this skill, and traditional resistance exercises only partially address it. This is why the isometric wall press is so essential. Isometric exercises are unique. They strengthen muscles without movement, which may sound counterintuitive, especially for those who grew up believing exercise must involve motion, sweat, and repeated effort. But for the aging body, isometrics hold a special power. They activate entire chains of muscles at once, from the hands pressing forward, through the shoulders and chest, down into the core, and even into the legs anchoring your stance. In that brief moment of pushing against an unmovable wall, your body recruits muscle fibers in the same way it does during a sudden loss of balance, quickly, collectively, and with purpose. Over time, this builds the reactive strength needed to catch yourself when life throws you off center. From a medical standpoint, isometric training has been shown to increase strength by 30 to 35% in older adults, and even more importantly, significantly improve the speed at which that strength can be used. Unlike many exercises, isometrics are joint friendly. There is no bending that strains the knees, no lifting that pressures the spine, and no rapid motions that risk dizziness. But beyond data and studies, I have seen something far more meaningful in my patients: a renewed sense of control, a feeling that their body can still stand strong when tested, a quiet confidence that if they slip on a wet patch near the sink or lose their footing on a curb, their muscles won't hesitate, they will respond. Here is how to perform this exercise safely and effectively. Stand facing a wall at an arm's length. Plant your palms firmly at shoulder height. Straighten your posture, align your head with your spine, and gently tighten your abdominal muscles. Then press forward as if trying to move the wall itself. Hold the effort for 10 to 15 seconds while breathing steadily, then release and rest before repeating. 3 to 5 cycles are enough to begin noticing real changes within weeks. What matters is not how dramatic the movement looks, because there is no visible movement, but how deeply the muscles engage. The stillness is the training, the resistance is the teacher, and the strength you build is the strength that shows up when you need it most. In a world where one slip can change the course of your life, the ability to summon strength instantly is a gift you give your future self. But strength alone cannot safeguard you. To truly protect your independence, your body must master a simple yet profoundly revealing skill, one that determines more about your long-term mobility than almost any other test. And that leads us to the most important exercise of all. 5. Single leg balance, the quiet test that reveals more about your future than you think. In all my years treating older adults, there is one simple test that often tells me more about a patient's long-term mobility, independence, and fall risk than an entire folder of medical charts, whether they can stand on one leg. It seems almost too ordinary to matter. Something a child can do without thinking, something most adults assume they can still manage. But the truth is, the single leg balance is a window into the health of several critical systems working together: your eyesight, inner ear, nervous system, hip stabilizers, ankle sensors, and core muscles. When even one of these systems becomes weakened, uncoordinated, or slower to respond, your ability to stand safely on one foot begins to fade. And it fades earlier and faster than people realize. By the time Americans reach their mid-60s, many begin losing the reflexive balance that once protected them from stumbles and missteps. Not because they aren't walking, not because they aren't trying, but because everyday walking simply doesn't challenge the balance system enough to keep it strong. Walking keeps you moving forward, say. But doubt the CEE balance is what keeps you from falling sideways backward or during those unpredictable moments when life interrupts your rhythm. A small slip on a rug, a missed edge of a curb, the unexpected tug of a dog leash, even turning too quickly to answer someone behind you. These are the moments when balance is tested. And these are the moments when the ability to hold yourself steady on one leg becomes the line between catching yourself or suffering a life-altering fall. Research shows that older adults who cannot stand on one leg for 10 seconds face significantly higher risks of falls, hospitalization, and even mortality in the coming years. To me, this is not a number. It is a call to action, a reminder that balance must be trained intentionally, not left to chance. When you practice the single leg balance exercise, you are doing far more than lifting one foot off the ground. You are waking up the deep stabilizers in your hips, strengthening the small muscles around your ankles, sharpening nerve pathways that send balance information to your brain, and retraining your core to react instantly. These reactions are not just physical, they are protective, life-saving, and empowering. To perform this exercise safely, stand beside a counter or the back of a sturdy chair. Place your fingertips lightly on the surface if needed. Then slowly lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground. Focus on keeping your hips level, your spine tall, your breath steady. Hold the position for as long as you comfortably can, whether that's 5 seconds or 30, then switch legs. What makes this exercise extraordinary is how quickly it begins to create change. Within weeks, patients tell me they feel steadier stepping over thresholds, more confident walking through crowded stores, less nervous on uneven driveways or grassy parks. They begin trusting their bodies again, a trust that many quietly lost without realizing it. And there is something else I've seen time and time again. Balance brings freedom. The freedom to move without fear. The freedom to enjoy grandchildren, social events, and everyday life without worrying about a momentary misstep. The freedom to stay independent a little longer. But while balance is the foundation, there is another piece of the puzzle that becomes increasingly important after 65, a movement that strengthens your ability to lift, step, and climb with ease, and that addresses one of the most common challenges in the American household. And that brings us to the sixth essential exercise. 6. Step up on a low step, reclaiming the strength that helps you rise, climb, and move with confidence. As an orthopedic surgeon who has spent decades watching how age changes the way Americans move through their homes, neighborhoods, and daily routines, I can tell you that one of the most underestimated challenges of growing older has nothing to do with running or lifting weights. It has to do with something far simpler, something most people don't think twice about until one day it becomes harder than it used to be. Stepping up. Stepping onto a curb, stepping into a car, stepping up the front porch, stepping onto a bus, stepping over the threshold from the garage into the house. These are small, everyday movements, but they demand a powerful combination of leg strength, balance, joint stability, and coordination. After age 65, those abilities begin to decline more noticeably, even in adults who walk regularly. Walking keeps you moving forward in a straight line, but stepping up requires lifting your entire body weight, controlling that lift and stabilizing yourself at a higher level. And that is something walking does not train. This is one of the reasons falls on stairs, curbs, and entryways are so common in older adults. The legs are strong enough for walking, but not strong enough for elevation. And when you lack the strength to lift yourself smoothly, the risk of stumbling increases dramatically. Many of my patients tell me they first notice this challenge when they find themselves pulling on the car door handle for leverage, gripping stair railings more tightly than before, or feeling a moment of hesitation when approaching a curb. These are not signs of weakness or aging failure. They are signs that the muscles responsible for lifting and stabilizing your body are asking for more attention. The step up on a low step exercise is one of the most practical solutions we have. Medically, this movement strengthens the quadriceps, gluteal muscles, hamstrings, and deep stabilizers around the hips and knees. These muscles are your power team, the ones that support every transitional movement in daily life. The step up also teaches your body to shift weight smoothly from one leg to the other, something that becomes increasingly important for older adults as joint changes and nerve signaling slow down. To perform the exercise correctly, choose a step no higher than 4 to 6 inches. A low staircase step, a porch step, or even a sturdy aerobic platform works well. Place one foot fully on the step, keeping your weight balanced. Then press through that foot to lift your body upward. Focus on using the muscles in your working leg rather than pulling yourself up with momentum. Once you reach the top, step down slowly and with full control. This deliberate, measured descent is where much of the strengthening happens. It teaches your muscles to stabilize your joints, a vital skill when navigating uneven sidewalks or descending stairs. Repeat the movement 8 to 10 times on each leg, resting as needed. What I love most about this exercise is that it reflects real American life. Our homes, cars, streets, and public spaces all involve elevation changes. Being able to step up confidently means maintaining the freedom to visit friends, take part in family gatherings, enjoy nature trails, and move safely through grocery store aisles and parking lots. And the emotional impact is just as important as the physical one. When an older adult regains the ability to move up and down steps without fear, something remarkable happens. They begin moving toward life again instead of away from it. They stop avoiding outings. They stop worrying about keeping up. They trust their legs again, a trust that many did not even realize they had lost. But strength and stepping ability are not the final chapter. There is still one more exercise, a gentle but powerful movement that fortifies the body from the inside out, supporting posture, breathing, stability, and injury prevention in ways most people never expect. And it's an exercise almost every older adult can start today with no equipment at all. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 7. 7. Gentle core bracing, rebuilding the stability that holds your entire body together. Whenever I meet a patient in their late 60s, 70s, or beyond, one of the first things I quietly assess is not how fast they walk or how high they can lift their legs. It is how well they stabilize their core. This doesn't mean doing sit-ups or planks or exercises that belong in a fitness magazine. For older adults, core strength is something far more fundamental. The ability to gently brace the deep muscles that support the spine, protect the hips, and keep the body upright when the world around you shifts. Most people don't notice their core weakening. It doesn't happen with dramatic pain or sudden changes. Instead, it shows up in subtle moments, feeling unsteady when turning quickly, struggling to stay balanced when carrying groceries, or sensing a small wobble when stepping off a curb. Some patients describe it as feeling soft in the middle or less anchored. What they're sensing is a loss of tension in the deep stabilizers, the transverse abdominis, multifidus, obliques, and pelvic muscles, the very muscles that hold the spine like a supportive corset. As we age, particularly after 65, these muscles lose tone faster than expected. Years of sitting, decreased movement variety, nerve slowing, and natural muscle atrophy all contribute. When the core weakens, the body begins compensating with the hips, knees, or lower back, creating stress in areas never meant to carry that load. Over time, posture shifts, balance becomes less reliable, and everyday movements feel more taxing. This is where gentle core bracing becomes essential. Unlike traditional abdominal exercises that require lying on the floor or performing painful movements, core bracing is gentle, joint-friendly, and accessible to nearly every older adult. It targets the deep stabilizers directly, the muscles responsible for holding you steady when you slip slightly, when someone bumps your arm in a grocery aisle, or when a breeze pushes against you as you walk to your mailbox. The exercise works by teaching your core to engage before your limbs move, which is exactly how the body operated when you were younger and more reactive. In medical terms, this is called anticipatory postural activation, your brain turning on stabilizing muscles milliseconds before a motion occurs. When this function declines with age, even simple actions like reaching into a cabinet or turning to sit can challenge your balance. To practice gentle core bracing, stand tall with your feet hip-width apart. Rest your hands lightly on your lower abdomen to feel the engagement. Take a soft breath in, then gently tighten your abdominal wall. not by sucking in, not by forcefully squeezing, but by imagining you are lightly preparing for a cough or steadying yourself before lifting something important. Hold this tension for 8 to 10 seconds while breathing normally, then release and repeat. With consistency, this exercise strengthens the deep supporting structures of the torso without strain. It improves stability during walking, protects the lower back, and enhances control during transitions, standing from a chair, turning, bending, or stepping onto uneven ground. For many of my patients, it is the missing link that ties all other movements together. They describe feeling more upright, more secure, more firmly connected to the ground beneath them. Core bracing also restores something profoundly emotional, a sense of inner strength. The feeling that your body can hold you, support you, and move with you, not against you. For seniors who fear falling or who have lost confidence after an injury, this emotional reassurance is just as important as the physical benefit. But while each of these 7 exercises addresses a unique piece of aging physiology, their true power lies in how they work together. Balance, stability, mobility, strength, reaction speed, and inner support, forming a complete system that protects your independence. And that leads us to the final message of this guide, the part that ties everything together, a conclusion every older adult in America deserves to hear. The complete picture, protecting your independence, one simple movement at a time. As we bring these 7 essential exercises together, I want to leave you with a message grounded in decades of caring for older adults across this country. Your strength, balance, and mobility are not fixed by age. They are shaped by what you choose to do each day. Far too many people believe decline is inevitable after 65, that weak legs or unsteady steps are simply part of growing older. But I have seen remarkable transformations, even in patients well into their 70s and 80s, when they commit to small, purposeful movements that awaken the systems the body relies on to stay upright and independent. Each exercise we discuss targets a different pillar of healthy aging. Heel to toe walking sharpens the communication between your feet and your brain. Chair stands rebuild the strength that allows you to rise with confidence. Hip circles restore the mobility needed to react to sudden changes in direction. The isometric wall press strengthens your ability to generate immediate protective force. Single leg balance trains the quiet stability that keeps you steady during life's unexpected moments. Step ups rebuild the power to move upward through your home and community, and gentle core bracing reinforces the foundation that holds your entire body together. Individually, each movement is powerful. Together, they form a protective system, a shield against falls, injury, and the gradual loss of independence that so many fear. These exercises require no equipment, no gym membership, and very little time. What they do require is commitment, patience, and the belief that your body is still capable of progress. And it is. I have never met a patient too old to improve, only one who believed improvement was no longer possible. Your future health is not determined by age alone, but by the choices you make today. If you give your body these 15 minutes of attention each day, it will repay you with steadier steps, greater confidence, and the freedom to live the life you want. And if you're ready, I can help you turn these 7 movements into a simple daily routine tailored to your abilities. Would you like that? These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with one. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.